In answer to the question, why Santayana, why now, I would say that Santayana offers a vision of human values without resort to superstition. Santayana's philosophy is a serious and cheerful alternative to irrationalisms of all kinds. He conceives science without arrogance, religion without fundamentalism, and disillusion without nihilism. He was perhaps the most intellectual of public intellectuals, a best-selling novelist, a poet, a social critic, and an author of unconventional philosophical works. He left an academic career for a life of relaxed, simple contemplation, reading, writing, and quietly generous friendship. His philosophy reflects his European roots and also an appreciation for Asian philosophy and religion and the undeniable influence of his American experience. It values the richest fruits of human experience, religion, art, and science. It recognizes the conflicted nature of human experience, but can also imagine in detail the harmony of a life of reason. Santayana's philosophy is materialism without reductionism and idealism without fanaticism.
The Santayana Edition is a critical edition and a collaborative project in which a number of people over a long term are involved in publishing the works of George Santayana. When the project first was founded in the 1970s, it was supported by a university in Florida. Then it moved to Texas A&M, and in 2001 it moved to the IU School of Liberal Arts on the IUPUI campus. We are involved in publishing the works of George Santayana, who is a writer whose scope of writings is very broad. It covers philosophy, it covers novels, poets, and also his letters. A critical edition is the attempt by editors to get at the intent of the author for the audience of scholars and students and interested readers. Most of the Santayana edition so far has been published in several volumes. Before the Santayana edition came to IUPUI, 4 volumes were published. Since 2000, we have had 8 years of publication, and we published on average 1 book each year. The letters of George Santayana in 8 books have recently been completed and are published at IUPUI. In the next several years, we are going to publish The Life of Reason, the first major philosophical work of George Santayana, and we are also publishing The 3 Philosophical Poets, which is a smaller collection about 3 poets that Santayana wrote about. Santayana is a very prolific writer with interests in philosophy, art, writing, that is as an author, and especially cultural criticism. In addition to the published works that we are interested in, is that the physical books, we also have used more modern media in our publication efforts, especially the CD, which now to many of you or many of us is outmoded. We are currently working on an electronic edition of the works of George Santayana, which creates great challenges and great possibilities. George Santayana is a writer and an author and a philosopher and social and cultural critic who allows us to bring together his works and what people thought and wrote about him, as well as how well they received his work, that will allow us, I think, to pilot a program where one author and all of his works and how they can be used by students and by scholars electronically over the internet can be exploited, how we can do that best and how that can survive for a long period of time. I would like to talk a little bit about the Santayana edition as a collaborative project. In many instances, academics work by themselves, especially academics in the liberal arts. George Santayana and the Santayana Edition is a project that allows many academics and professionals to work together. So we have editors, and we have technical staff, and we have students who help us publish the books of George Santayana. We can do that because we are supported by faculty who are in the School of Liberal Arts, but also we are supported by the National Endowment of the Humanities, which is the federal funding agency that supports projects that have wide interest in America and even beyond, but especially in America. And with their support, we can produce roughly 1 volume per year, and that is the pace of productivity that we hope to keep up, so that eventually we will have the 21 volumes of the critical edition of George Santayana gracing our shelves, all in blue, Santayana's favorite color. The nature of a collaborative project like the Santayana Edition really stipulates that a group of people works together well. That means that they work collaboratively on things that all of them have an interest in, and that they have specialties as well. So, for example, we have one philosopher on our project who is particularly interested and in charge in making sure that our annotations about George Santayana's philosophy are correct, on target, and understandable both to the philosophy community as well as to readers about philosophy. We do have critical edition experts who specialize on how to establish an index, which is one of the finding tools that when you publish any work in a book, that helps us, before we had the internet and hyperlinks, to find things effectively and fast, and allows us to go to the point in a book without having to read the book at any one time, all the way through. And then we have people who are particularly good at comparing texts and following it through, and we have people who are particularly good at seeing the whole production process from establishing the text to seeing it through to the camera-ready copy that we then send to the MIT Press, which is the press that publishes the Santayana Edition, for publication and distribution. So we have regular meetings where we discuss what needs to be done, where we establish the workload, where we establish the schedule, and where we establish the tasks, and where we know where we can discuss where we should be, how to plan, and how to execute our plans. The critical edition is a little different from what sometimes people know about documentary editions, which is publications of documents as opposed to texts that have already been published in most cases, but where we want to make sure that the best text gets to the reader without any problems that were introduced by people other than the author.
Hi, my name is Christine Frost, and I'm an associate editor at the Santayana Edition here at IUPUI in the School of Liberal Arts. We are intending to publish a critical edition of the works of George Santayana in 21 volumes. We've completed volume 5, which is the letters of George Santayana, in 8 books, and we'll continue with the editing of the 5-book volume, The Life of Reason. The other thing we do here at the edition on an annual basis is publish the Bulletin of the Santayana Society, which we mail to over 400 libraries and individuals, scholars who are interested in Santayana scholarship. And here at the edition, we have tried to pull together all the materials that we can find by Santayana, about Santayana, reviews, all of his correspondence, so that anyone who really wants to study Santayana can have a one-stop shop. We have collected materials from the major research libraries throughout the United States and Europe. We have several people who are doing translations of his works now in Europe, in South America. So there's a growing interest, we feel, in Santayana and Santayana scholarship. We find that there are many people who study Santayana because not only was Santayana a philosopher, but he was a critic of culture in America and Europe. He lived through both world wars in Europe. He was born in Spain but educated in Boston. He wrote a best-selling novel, he wrote plays, he wrote poetry, and so he is well received by many folk, not just the philosophy people.